Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel. Here today, guys, it's happened again. Yet again in Europe. We failed. It's as simple as that tonight. We had an opportunity, we had a chance. We've had them over 2 legs now against a big team, an informed team in Manchester United. Barça could have really taken advantage of that chance. Xavi could have snatched this opportunity to prove some people wrong. We haven't. Because before the game, let me just read you a quote here from what Xavi said before the game when he was asked about whether Barça are back, whether Barça have changed when it comes to these big European nights, going away from home, mentality and all that kind of stuff. He said before the game, tomorrow we're going to see if we've changed. We can't say that we've changed yet because we failed in the Champions League. He said that's why we're in the Europa. He said tomorrow it's an exam. We will show it on the field. And on that evidence, we failed the exam. Tonight at Old Trafford, we had the lead, we had control of the game in that first half, we looked to be heading in the right direction, but the same mistakes and the same fragility in that second half there to concede the goal, and we never ever looked like recovering. We're going to be talking about the game as a whole. It's disappointing. It hurts. It really does. Barça are out. We've lost to Manchester United. Because in terms of the lineup from Xavi, I think he did everything that we expected in the second leg, everything that we wanted him to do there in terms of his lineup this time around. Balde and Christensen were back into the back line. Araujo was there alongside Koundé, of course. Kessie was in midfield. Busquets was back, but it was Roberto there out on the left-hand side. We had no Pedri, of course, no Gavi, and still no Ousmane Dembele. From Man United, though, it was interesting because they lined up in exactly the way that we expected, but Ten Hag there originally lined up with Rashford on the left-hand side. It was actually Weghorst down the middle. Sancho then was in behind him with Bruno off to the right-hand side. And that's significant when you're looking at what changes between the first and the second half. Now, inside of the first 3 minutes in the game, Barça give the ball away in midfield. It's slack play there. We give it away. United cut us open. They're in behind. Bruno it was. One on with Ter Stegen. Really good save from Ter Stegen there to keep us in the game early doors. United put a lot of pressure on us. They were pressing really, really high, a lot of energy in their team, and it wasn't ideal. But in the first half then, Barça did get back on the ball. We did get some control of the game. We had some composure. We looked to be able to hurt United then in the final third. There was a few poor passes, few poor decisions. We could have done more, but we won a penalty. It was Alejandro Balde there who did a really good job down the left-hand side. He actually anticipates the ball quicker than Bruno. Bruno then, with a clear arm on him, brings him down. Referee points to the spot. Now, Lewandowski from the penalty spot, it was a long wait for him. I was really nervous about that because we know that he has that stuttering run-up. It's not the most convincing penalty technique ever. I think it was heart in the mouth there as he struck that because De Gea looks like he's going to save it. He can't quite. And Barça, at that point in the game, had the lead. Now, I would say on Lewandowski, just on him for a moment there, it was a tough game for him. You know, aside from that penalty there, Lewandowski did not have the impact that we were hoping in either of these legs, to be honest. I think tonight the ball got away from him on a number of occasions. Certainly there on counter-attack opportunities as well. They were rare. There was a ball there that was crying out to be played to Rafinha at one point. He was sprinting through the middle. Lewandowski didn't see him. That was a really, really disappointing moment there in the game for Barça. And the big moment came before half-time when we could have made it 2-0. Because we've seen so many goalkeeping mistakes this week. We saw one here from De Gea, gives the ball away. Roberto then, he's onto it. Great chance. But he can't get his shot away in time. He should get it away. He should make sure that he gets a shot at goal. He doesn't, though. Casemiro makes the recovery tackle and block. And that was a huge moment there for Man United. Casemiro, absolutely crucial. That could have been 2-0. And if it was, that could have been a very different game, but instead we go in by just the one goal, and of course what we know now is that wasn't enough. Now, in the second half, Erik Ten Hag changed things around, and in my opinion here, he did things which influenced the game in terms of the two coaches coming head-to-head. Ten Hag used his options on the bench to his advantage. Weghorst came off, Antony came on, and then United changed that system. Rashford then was through the middle, Bruno was actually as the 10, Antony on the right-hand side with all of that pace in behind our high line, and Sancho on the left-hand side. And I just think then, very early on in the second half, Barça didn't react to those changes. It was so quick there, the United equaliser. We just didn't react, and we were very, very sluggish, giving the ball away. There was massive gaps between our centre-backs there. Fred could just run into our box, unmarked. So much time, so much space there for him to take on a volley. It's uncharacteristic for him, but it's a great finish in the end. And Man United are level, And it just all started from that moment, didn't it? Because then you had Antony running in behind us, really illustrating that suddenly the game had changed. Suddenly United were in the ascendancy. Christensen was struggling to keep up with him. Antony, in the end, just about enough pressure on him. But I just think in those moments, guys, I had flashbacks because I was looking at a team that weren't responding. They weren't reacting to anything. Everything was happening in front of them. Everything was happening there. United were putting the pressure on. United were moving the ball around. Barça, they were just like rabbits in the headlights. Again, in a European game like this, we just don't seem to have the backbone. We don't seem to have the mentality to sort of say, okay, we've had a setback. They've equalised there, but we can go again. We haven't seen that in Europe for such a long time. That's the problem for us. And I just think it was inevitable. That's the worst thing. That was the worst feeling you could have as a fan. When you're watching the game, it's 1-1. You should be in it. You should feel as though you have a chance at 1-1. But I think all of us just felt like, you know what? United are going to score again. And that's exactly what happened. There was an air of inevitability about the way that they took the lead. And of course it was Antony, the man that came on, the man that really changed the game in Ten Hag's favour. It's a wonderful goal, phenomenal finish in there, across the goalkeeper. Nothing at all Ter Stegen can do. But like I say, you could see it coming. Now, Xavi tried to make a few changes of his own. I think he waited a little bit too long to make that first change. 70 minutes it was before we even saw a change. Roberto went off. Ferran Torres came on. And Ansu Fati as well came on there through the second half. Rafinha going off as well. But then, I think the incredible thing for me was, in the latter stages of that game, I think Xavi thought, you know what? Game's over. It's over. I'm done. I've had it. Because Araujo comes off. Now, whether he had a knock, whether he had something wrong with him, but then coming on, again, Marcos Alonso. Now, I think for him to come on in this game, I'm starting to believe now that he has some sort of European clause in his contract. Because for him to come on again, every single big European game, it's like he's got to be out there. It's like we can't just bear to leave him on the sideline. He's got to be in there. And you know what I think? From the very first leg, that's where we went wrong. It wasn't necessarily about tonight's game. It wasn't necessarily about tonight's performance. But I think from that very first lineup from Xavi in the first leg, we gave the game to United. We said ultimately, we're not really all out to win this. We're not all in to win this tie. And that's the way that it felt for me. From Xavi in that first lineup, we gave them the psychological advantage. And United never looked back. They played really well in the first leg. They probably could have won that game perhaps. In the second leg, they had chances tonight. They certainly took them in front of their own fans. And Barça, from that very first leg, we just never caught up again. We should have been going into this second leg with an advantage. If we'd have played our strongest team in the first leg, maybe we could have beaten United and actually had something to protect here at Old Trafford. But like I say, once you make that error, once you concede there, all of that momentum in a tie like this, it's hard to get it back. And I just think here, Xavi, of course, has to take responsibility. He's the coach of Barca. He knows what's going to come his way here. It's another failure in Europe. But I also think out there tonight, guys, there were certain players that haven't had good games, that didn't cover themselves in glory, that made key mistakes, that didn't really do what we've been seeing them do all season long. And of course, you also have to say, there was no Gavi. There was no Pedri tonight. There was no Ousmane Dembele. Those are three key players there that if you put those in this Barca team, it looks very, very different. But by far and away, we've got a lot to work on. It's another reality check tonight for Barca. It's another example of, you know what, we are making progress. We have made progress. You look at our league form, you look at all that kind of stuff. It's all good and well. But on the European stage against the best teams in the biggest of games, mentally, there's still work to do. There is still things that this team are not doing that other top teams, they are doing. And that's our problem right now. We still have a lot of work on the training ground, a lot of work behind the scenes, and certainly in the biggest of moments, there's a lot to be desired on the European stage. Tonight, I expected better. I hope for better from Barca, but it has not worked out in that way, and we're knocked out of the Europa League now. United head on through to the next round. Our European season is over. We're out of all European football, which is not ideal as well in terms of revenue, but I'm sure we're going to hear all about that in the coming days. What I want to know, guys, from you is how you're feeling right now. I'm personally very deflated. I'm very, very hurt tonight by that performance from Barca and the fact that we haven't been able to show again what we can do. It was a chance. It was an opportunity. How many times have we spoken about that? You could have got out there, really put something together and say, look, we are back. We have changed. Look at what we're doing. But we haven't. They have not been able to provide that performance. And so the questions will go on. The doubts will continue to be there until we put them to bed. and let me know, guys, what you're feeling, what you're thinking. And of course, there's going to be lots more reaction. We're going to be talking more about the game, more about the aftermath. All of that is to come. You know that here, we're not just going to quit. We're not just going to shy away and go away and not come back. We're going to be here on the channel. We're going to be discussing things until we get it right. That's what the team have to do. And I will see you soon, guys. With all of that to come, thank you indeed for watching tonight. I'm sorry about the result. I'm sorry about the performance. But hopefully, there is better to come. I will see you soon, but until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!